Hey everybody, thank you for joining us this week. Nate Bargatze is in the room with me. Thank you so much for being here, man.
No, this is exciting. Thank you.
You wanted to talk about Jerry Seinfeld. I'm telling you for the last time,
I'm
right?
telling you for the last time. I think I said the last time. I think I said last time I'm telling you. But it is I'm telling you for the last time. I've always got it confused.
That's fine. Was Seinfeld a comedian first or a TV star first for you? Which one?
You know what? He might have been a comedian. I don't know if I grew up worshiping stand-up.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of people worship. I think I knew he was a comedian though.
Mm-hmm.
I did know he was a comedian.
Sure.
But I think it was, you know what? It probably was all off the show. So really, I guess it would be the show. It's almost one and the same with him.
It does feel that way. When's the first time you heard this album?
I went to, when did I hear it? It was right before I started comedy, or maybe right at it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember it coming out, and it was, I listened to it a bunch, but it was just, I liked how, my comedy's not even like his, but I just liked it's an old school, there's no words that don't need to be there.
Yeah.
It's it's all just to the point of everything, and you could tell it was like 20 years of work that he's just throwing in, which was I think what they did then.
Right.
It's not like now it's you gotta have a new hour so much.
Yeah.
But back then those guys didn't do that. They said it, they did it, and the way he was like, this is it. This is like my work for 20 years.
Is he still sort of grandfathered in? Does he still get to do that if he wants?
Write it out, not have to come up with new.
He makes it seem that way, right?
I absolutely think so. I'm very blown away with you can see, I love Seinfeld.
Mm.
He's probably comic wise now, I'm not I love Bill Burr,
mm-hmm.
and so there's other guys I get, he is older, you can tell,
Sure.
It's not, but it's still for what he did, I think it was the most perfect stand-up career that I would
mm-hmm.
just that, almost everything was just, he had it set up. He started stand-up, he goes to Carson, he was doing good on the road, making money, then his show is the biggest sitcom ever, and then just right back into stand-up,
mm-hmm.
and just is it's almost like the perfect life.
It's true.
He's done everything flawless.
Mm-hmm. Not stopping is a big thing though, I think, for stand-ups, right? Is it that way for you? Do you think if tomorrow was, here's my sitcom, do you think you'd still want to do stand-up?
Yes, I want to do it the rest of my life. That's why I liked Leno and guys that have just never let it go, that have always done it, and
mm-hmm.
they keep doing it.
Yeah.
I love that, they stay true to the thing that made them. It's the thing that you do love doing. We want to do all that other stuff, but the other stuff is just to get people to know who I am, so you can come see, so I can do the thing that I want to do.
Yeah.
But I think stand-up is the best. There's nothing, I've hated my act recently, and just because you get tired of saying
mm-hmm.
it. And I had a new joke last night, and within the difference is crazy. Yeah. I'm so excited tonight to do a show, because it's I have this one new joke.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the other stuff, but it adds life into everything, because you're just excited to get to this one new joke.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Does it change how you approach the other jokes? Or are they basically the same? Are they where they were?
What do I make them different?
Yeah, does it in any way change the rest of the act?
No, I don't. I don't think so. It can be, I don't think it changes the rest, because some of them are good done, in a sense,
mm-hmm.
It's they work, and when you tell them too much, they can stop working just because you lose whatever it is that you're telling. That's another thing with Seinfeld. That's to tell those jokes for that long. And I get look, you gotta write a new act.
Sure.
He would have if he had the time, but he was doing the biggest sitcom in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand he didn't, but he still delivered them all. It's that's the thing, that's the trick of comedy, is you got to deliver jokes that you say a lot. Even if you do them even if you get to Burr and Louie where you're doing them a year or two.
Sure.
But they're going to do them a ton, so they have to deliver the jokes as this is the first time. You gotta make the crowd like think like this is the best show I've ever had.
Yeah.
And you guys were a part of it. Even, you know.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No.
Do you prefer to find an exact way to say it? Are you very specific about the wording, or is it still just the essence of it?
It's the essence. It's basically all there. Like once you say it a bunch, you kind of get in that routine. But I will change I'll change non-important words. I might add a couple extra little ands in these to like get an extra like beat or something.
Sure.
So I could do that, and that can make it a little fresh too. Like
right.
Just to like add, you know, some kind of something different.
Right.
You know, and that's something that Seinfeld didn't do.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, that was, you know, seeing that, like seeing Seinfeld was like, that's what I thought you're supposed to do when you start comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess like once you start doing it, like you realize it's like, oh, well that's like, you know, once you get into comedy, it's like, you know, all you have is like Cosby, Seinfeld, you know, Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor, or whoever. Like those are the only people that you would know that do comedy. And then once you get in it, you're like, oh wow, you're like pretty blown away.
Right.
Yeah.
Where did you start doing stand-up?
In Chicago.
Okay.
I moved there first. I'm from Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
Moved to Chicago. Was there for 2 years, and then moved to New York.
Mm-hmm. What was the impetus for Chicago? Was it just that it was close enough, or that it was? I mean, it wasn't New York, so I'm just curious why you choose Chicago.
It was my buddy Michael Clay wanted to go do Second City.
Okay.
We were working, like we were just doing like, you know, reading water meters. Like I don't know, whatever blue collar, whatever job I would still be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'll go back to when this doesn't pan out. And we were just doing that, and he wanted to take improv at Second City, and I don't know if I really even knew like about Second City, but I just was like, yeah, I'll go. I think I want to do stand up.
Yeah.
And I've been thinking about it a lot. I still haven't done an open mic in Nashville, but I went to one and watched, and so I was like, I'm gonna, you know, and that's why because he said Chicago, so I was like, all right. And New York was because a guy was moving to New York, a comic, and he was like, my buddy Finn was like, I'm gonna go, and I was just kind of, it was a lot of like just, you know, I don't know, it's all pre-planned, just a lot of luck.
That's crazy.
Like just to be like, all right, you're going to New York, I'll go with you to New York, and let's do it.
You know, that part of the story it doesn't seem that unusual, but I think it's getting less unusual to hear from me. But the idea that a lot of people who get into comedy sort of only know that they want to get into comedy. They're not necessarily aware of like all their options. Like you said, you didn't know a lot about Second City, but all of a sudden you get there, and like, what's the first moment when you sort of if you remember, like when you suddenly realized how big comedy was, or how many options you had, or how many options there were anyway?
I mean, it was Chicago. It was like going there with improv, you know, and I took a class first, and I'm not against class. Like some comics hate them. I have no problem with them. It's like, no, you can't go to class. They're not going to teach you how to be funny. No. But you're at least going to get around people that are starting like you. So you at least are around other supportive people because it's so scary to go into an open mic. It's the most intimidating. That's more intimidating. Like out of all the intimidation you would go through in this business, I feel like when you first go into an open, like that's the most intimidating, because you don't know. You know, because you see guys that have been doing it for a year, and you could watch that guy and be like, that guy's the best I've ever seen. You know, I was talking to just someone that's like, I do show, like, I'll still, like, those guys I can still see now that I will still look at them and, like, they will, you know, no matter where we're at in our careers or whatever, but they can always still be bigger than me because they just were when I first started. So, like, you just remember that, you know. So, but Chicago, I guess there was the improv, and then, you know, the open mics. I want to say Chicago. I'm trying to think of, maybe it's New York. New York was like the most, like, you go there and it's like overwhelming. Like it was like, you know, I mean, I remember right when I moved to New York, we met a guy. We went to an open mic, and then he was like, he goes, all right, I got another show to go to, and we're like, can we just follow you? And he was like, yeah. And so we were like, followed him to like 2 other shows. So that's when I was like, this is crazy. And I thought that guy had to, you know, I figured he ran New York. Right. But that was way off. He did not. But I thought he was like, well, I just ran with a guy that's the best comic in New York City. Yeah. And I had no idea the levels. So, like, you know, that was when I learned about the shows. And then I handed out flyers at a Boston Comedy Club, like, you would do it for stage time, help run the show and stuff. And that was the first, there was good because I wasn't running around. I was, like, standing in a place as all these other great dudes, these great comics, Burr, you know, Big J, Kurt, Attell, Chappelle would always come in, like, you would see those guys come in, and they would be doing spots all over the city, and they would usually end up there last. So that's when I saw how good comedy is, and how much it's better than I don't even know.
Did you have a concept of it as a craft first, or was it just like, this is something I want to try?
I knew it was like, you know, my dad's a magician, and so he does and he does comedy in his magic, and I've done stuff with him. So I knew, like, you know, doing stuff with him, I knew, you know, I got it. I just didn't know the world of it, like, because he was in a different world than I was. Or he was doing shows like now when I do all these, like, when I would, like, come up and you're doing all these crappy one-nighters, I realized, like, that's probably what he was doing too. I didn't know that then. Yeah. Like, he didn't come home and go, I was in this bar and, like, whatever. He didn't, you know, so I didn't know. But now doing them, I'm like, oh gosh. Yeah. Like, he was doing some probably pretty bad ones.
Right. No, I can imagine. It's got to be harder even for. So does he do magic and comedy, or both? I mean, yeah.
Together, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have to wonder then, did you get your concept of the punchline from him, and is that a different pattern than just a stand-up comic? I'm just curious.
Yeah. You know what? I can see it now. Like, I think I did get a lot of, like, the pacing and timing, and, like, you know, like some like facial expression, like, you just weirdly, like, without even knowing it, I think you just I can see it now. Yeah. Like, I can definitely, like, tell that, you know, I'm his son, and it comes from that. Yeah. So, but it's all, like, none of it's, you know, was thought of, like, none of it is like growing up thinking, like, oh, I'm doing you know, I don't know if anybody thinks that, but
no, maybe not. I mean, it does seem that it's ingrained. It's now that you're saying that, and then knowing your work, it is interesting to sort of, if you think of it in terms of just your type of stage presence, because you don't have maybe the typical nowadays stand-up presence. You've got your own thing, and I just wonder if that might come from, you know, growing up with that.
No, I definitely, you know, it did. You know what always helped me too is, like, being from the South, and, like, just talking slower, like, helped with just pacing. Like, I never was fast. So, you know, that's just out of the luck of, now my accent used to be so much more that people would have trouble sometimes, like, drawing out words. Like, when I was in Chicago, like, it would, like, you know, I think people could, like, sometimes you'd just be like, what did he say? Like, so I would have to, like, I would have to, like, really enunciate, like, words. And I still do that now, but it is, like, you know, it's weird, like, just weird stuff like that, you know, it's like, I know people from the South talk slower, but you would never think it could help you, like, and it does, because like, that was the thing that I never had to worry about. I never was going to go too fast.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, and there is something to be said, too, for not just for talking slower, but adding that stage presence. It's like, oh, by the way, I'm talking slower, but you're going to continue listening to me. You know, that's something that people they don't appreciate. Yeah. So you go to Chicago. Is that where you first heard this album?
Chicago this was it. So Chicago's, like, that's when I would listen to the album. And I thought it was the best. I watched the special and stuff like that. And, like, I just thought it was... it was just perfect. It was like, you know, it was just, you're just seeing a guy, whether that's the comedy you like or anything or whatever it is, it's like, for the place and the time capsule of it all, like, that's how comedy was done. Yeah. And this guy was the best, and he kept it. Everything was, like, down to, like, when you watch him and he's doing, like, his movements and stuff, it's all, like, you know, just timed out. Like, where you're like, this guy, you know, you could tell it's something that's work, like, he's worked into this. Definitely. I don't think it's Robin Williams and it's all made up, and you know, it's like, you can tell, like, this is a craft.
Right. Yeah, and it is very specific, and it's very honed. What gets lost in the discussion sometimes about Seinfeld is, what is his point of view? And I'm just curious, what about his point of view drew you in, that made you interested in what he had to say?
Well, I mean, I don't, it's just the observation. Like, it's like, I don't know, maybe they're like, it's his like, just commenting on the same stuff that, like, someone being observational, it's impressive in the fact that, like, because when you think of it, now it's like a little bit harder because it's like, it's almost all been done. Like, not it's all been done, but it's like it's been done a lot. Mm-hmm. But like then it's like, to be the guy that can come up with something that goes, yeah, but that is right. Why does that, and you make someone laugh. Like, that's like, he caught that. Other people are not catching it. Sure. Other people are just letting it go by. Mm-hmm. He caught it and then made some. So like that's something right there. The fact that he is just can sit there. I know, like, he's talked about, like, as a comic, like, you're kind of like, you're just like, if you're in like a party, like you're in the party, but you're kind of like above the party, just looking around, trying to see what I could make funny. Yeah. And he was a guy that I think, like, first realized, like, he's constantly he's always thinking about bits, always trying to think of, like, how's this funny? Is this funny? Mm-hmm. What about this? Why do they do that? And I heard someone else, I think Burr I heard him on like something, like, but talking about Seinfeld, like, you can see he has anger, mm-hmm. like, because that's why he's upset. He's, it's all stuff that's like kind of observational stuff. Is going to be stuff that kind of drives you crazy. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's not complete anger, sure, but it's like the frustrations. That's all it is. No one's going to be like, and look at this works out great. Like, that's not funny at all. Right. So comedy has to have, that even has to have that. Yeah. But it's about just mundane stuff. It's not anything that's, I think he's doing a little bit more now, mm-hmm. but then it's like nothing like crazy. But that's like that was like the thing, like that was like mind blowing in the 80s and 90s, Definitely. Like to have that, he was like crazy.
I also wonder too is if they sometimes the idea that he's a quote unquote clean comic, that if that also sometimes distracts people from the fact that this is a guy who's paying very close attention to things, and he's really got a craft. Yeah. Sometimes people just sort of assume that because he's being clean that he doesn't have a point of view, that he can't be angry. Yeah. Yeah. Do you see that happen a lot?
Yeah. No. Yeah. Like, I'm clean, and and that's the other thing that will draw you to stuff. Like, I mean, I grew up, I was allowed to listen to, like, my parents wouldn't let me listen to, like, a bunch of his stuff. Mm-hmm. So everything I listened to was clean. But he, I think, you can get away with more. I always tell comics, like, if you just don't cuss, mm-hmm. you can say so much more than you think you can say. Yeah. But, like, the cussing is what draws everybody's attention. Yeah. So when you cuss, like, it's like, that's when everybody's like, well, you can't, now you gotta, I know there's jokes that are like, you can tell a really dirty joke without, but I mean, Seinfeld did a whole show on masturbation. Yeah. Like crazy things that, like, they would get across, mm-hmm. And say stuff. I always got my buddy Joe List would always bring up, like, on Seinfeld, they talked about, like, having an abortion, basically. Yeah. And he's like, I'm not talking about that. Mm-hmm. Like, that's wild, mm-hmm. that he said that. Like, that's more edgy than anything. Yeah. Just that era to be like, I'm not telling you if I've had an abortion or not. Because if you haven't, I think you would go, I've never had one. Right. So it's like he's leaving that. That's pretty crazy. And I know it's a mix of him and Larry David. Sure. But that's what I know everybody loves Larry David. I love Larry David too. But, like, I love Seinfeld because Seinfeld's got to be the guy that goes, well, you're not going to be able to say that in front of people, man. Yeah. So, like, it's like Larry David can be like, go crazy, and Seinfeld can be like, well, we can do that, but mm-hmm. I'm going to tell you, let's figure out a way to do it where we're going to be able to get it through. Yeah. And, the contest on the side, he does that whole show. They don't mention masturbation once. Yeah. And that's, it's like you can get a lot more out. Definitely. And it's, I don't know, it's just different. It's like, it was great. I
think it is more of a, I mean, again, I like plenty of comedians who will swear, but I do still feel, I don't think it's old-fashioned to think that it's more of a craft when you set that limitation on yourself. You don't have to do it, but when you do, I mean, you're thinking about joke structure, I think, in a different way.
Yeah, you don't think about, I mean, I have no jokes on sex. Mm-hmm. And I just, not against them. Sure. But I just, like, it's the way I started writing, mm-hmm. and the way I started thinking. I just don't think like that. And the benefit of that for me has been, I'm now, like, when, a bunch of guys have jokes on sex, like, mm-hmm. I'm just not going to have. So if we have a thought, we're never I won't at least go that way, that they're all going to go.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it can kind of somewhat like, you're like, all right, I can just kind of stay in my own little thing. Like, not that you can be original, obviously, but I don't know. It has helped.
You talk about that dialogue between Larry David and Jerry Seinfeld. I wonder, though, do you have your own inner monologue that's ever like, where you have to, when you're first writing a joke, you're first coming up with a concept, or maybe you're improvising something on the spot, where you do have the impulse to go, not swear or anything, but just, I don't know, go too far. I don't know what that even means, but then you having to draw yourself back to make the joke work.
I haven't yet. I've maybe had a joke that was dirty, and I've done but it would be, I want to sometimes late nights. Sometimes I might have to cuss. Like if it's a late show, if it's midnight or 1, like I'll just cuss
really?
About like honking a horn. Like it's the stupidest thing in the world. But you just you try to make it just sound, because these people are drunk.
Yeah,
they don't know, and they're not listening anyway. So no one's listening. So, but not really. Like I just. I don't know. I haven't hit that. I haven't crossed it yet.
Yeah.
I worry. I could be mean. I did. There's a point where I had a lot of stuff about my wife, and I had I was too much.
Okay.
To where I could feel an audience being like, all right, why are you even married?
Yeah.
And then so I would have to be like, all right, I need to put myself. I've got to now add me into some of these jokes.
Yeah.
So I got to balance it out, so it's like it just doesn't look like an overload on her.
Right.
And then people are like, all right, that's too much. That would be that's the stuff that I would come across, because your humor would be I don't know. I talk about murder quite a bit, so I use it a lot of fighting in my jokes. But you can get away with that if you don't cuss. If you don't cuss, just get away with all that.
Well, that's yeah. It's so true. I mean, I have this Weird Al album out, and this guy is an example I'm always talking about.
Yeah.
The crap he gets away with.
Yeah.
And he's never said a filthy thing.
Yeah.
But he's got one of the best masturbation jokes I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
But he gets away with it because it's clean, and that makes it creative.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the art of it.
No, it's great, and I would imagine, I don't know how everybody is that's clean, but I do think it's it's really important, how you start. I know you could switch, but I think it really is important, how you start, because it's that's just how it starts out. It's it's the what you're going to be. Or I guess I guess being true to yourself. I would always for me, being clean was I would have been clean probably to begin with, but it's also my parents. I don't want them to be mad at me.
Yeah.
And so that still is in my head now, even though I'm 35. I have my own kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's still in my head. That still is I don't want them to be, mad or upset. So that's the thing that whatever it is that makes you right. Whatever In New York, I know a lot of guys, they'd cuss, but I mean. Once you move there, you realize that's how they talk. That's how their parents talk. That's how everybody talks. I would see kids on subways, and they're just filthy. And you're you're 7. And but then it's they just, it's but they grew up like that. So then you realize, oh, that's just how it's nothing to them.
Yeah.
So, to them, it's they have to somewhat, sometimes they have to dial down, because you're you cuss so much that you're I don't even know what you're saying.
Right, yeah. Do you have a favorite bit off of this album, or a favorite few bits? There's some fantastic stuff on this.
Yeah, I loved the joke about going to the airport, which is a perfect example of the era of this. But when he goes to the airport, they're doing the faucets when he goes in, they can't trust us, we're going to cut it on, and everybody runs out, and
That's right.
It's we got a business meeting to go to, you idiot. He goes, who cares? Water. Just for leaving it on.
Right.
We have no control over ourselves. The milk one is great. With the cow, July 3rd. Does he tip you off? It's terrific. Man, I meant to listen to it before I came here, and I didn't. There's another thing, yeah. The Olympic thing is unreal. You wait your whole life, and just he goes, the guy lost by, if a guy had a pimple, he lost by a nose. If he had a pimple, he would have won. He goes, fastest guy in the world, never heard of him. Like, that's the, I love that. Like, fastest guy in the world, never heard. Like, it's awesome.
And that's the art of that, too, because that just sounds like a goofy joke, but at the end of the day, it's not dark, but it's definitely heavy.
Yeah, well, it is. Yeah, it's like, about the fastest guy. Like, it's like you're saying, like, you're on TV just saying, like, this guy works his whole life. If you want to be an Olympic guy, you can go work your whole life. You can be the best in the world, the fastest human being on earth, and no one will recognize you or know your name, and you're doing something more important than other, you're representing your country.
Yeah.
And Olympic athletes are the least known athletes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
You know a lot more golfers than you would ever know, Olympic athletes.
I'm also thinking, too, you reminded me with the bit about the sinks, is that, like, I do forget that sometimes he does this, like, he likes to overact.
Yeah.
He really likes to, I won't call it mugging, but he really likes to go nuts every once in a while and clown. He likes to clown.
Yeah.
Do you ever get that impulse, or is that just not you?
I'm trying to get a little better of, like, moving around. Like, I've watched, like, I was watching Burr just recently, like, and I feel like he is starting, like, really, like, kind of throwing some stuff in there. And I understand it now. I understand why you'd want to do it. At the beginning, I didn't want to do it, but now I understand, like, if you're really telling a story, it's like, I talk with my hands a lot anyway, but like, if you're really telling a story and then you, like, act and then you, like, kind of do it, it just adds more to the joke. Like, it really shows, like, the crowd, like, I'm really into this.
Yeah.
But the fear is also, if the joke does work, it's like probably the worst thing in the world, like, to be bombing and then having to, like, act out something to people. Like, oh god, I can't even imagine what that would feel like. But I remember I would add little movements. I'm getting a little better, but I have to work on it. I have to add, like, little stuff. I have a joke where I play a prank on my buddy at McDonald's, and at the end of it's like, I say the one guy was cracking his neck, and I cracked my neck on stage, but that took a long time for me to do. That was very uncomfortable for me to do. And now what I try to do is, like, if I'm at a club for a weekend, I'll try to make myself, like, walk to a point on the stage. Like, I'll be like, go try to make yourself go. Okay. It's very hard.
Yeah.
I don't even always do it.
Sure.
But I'm trying to be like, go to the corner.
Right.
And just see what it feels like over there.
Yeah.
And then just trying to, like, add a little, I don't ever want to be crazy, because I don't think it would not be my style.
Yeah.
But, you're just trying to be yourself a little bit more. Like, I can be a little more animated, so I think it's like when you get on stage, you're almost just trying to, like, get it up to, like, how you are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's interesting. It's because some comics talk about needing to find that. Some comics talk about needing to find a voice too, where, well, I'm now comfortable to talk about my actual life, where I used to be hiding just behind jokes that weren't true. It's interesting to me that some people do want to be more themselves, and some people maybe want to find it maybe a solid, maybe not a character, but a point of view that's not necessarily them.
Yeah.
I mean, but you want your point of view to be your genuine human point of view up there, right?
Yeah, I don't know if I don't think of it like, it's like, I don't care, like, it's the point of view. I want it to be funny. Okay. So, you just want to make sure that it's funny, and you want to see people really laughing, and you want to be like, that's perfect. And so that's, whether that is going to be my, I guess it is your point of view in a sense. But it's just, I don't feel like there's any, I don't try to do any, like, tricks. I'm not trying to do, like, something like to make someone think something.
Of course, yeah.
But it is, you want to get yourself across. Like, you want to get, you want everything to be, I don't know. I mean, I would say most of my jokes are all pretty accurate. Like, some stuff could not, I don't know. It's all pretty close.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's nice to have that when someone can be, when someone's like, is that even true? And you're like, yeah, it's all true. Like, it's like, you just make it a little more colorful.
Of course.
To tell it.
So what kind of, you talked about your parents bringing you up with kind of clean comedy.
Yeah.
So what was the kind of stuff you were listening to, and when did you branch off and start listening to your own stuff?
I don't know if I ever did branch off till I started.
Not until Chicago. Yeah.
No, I really didn't. Like, I was, pretty, what is it? What's the word? Is it naive? Is that the word?
That's fine.
Something like that, where you just believe everybody. So I remember listening to Sinbad.
Okay.
Afros and Bell Bottoms. That was another one that I was pretty blown away by.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. Mm-hmm. He gets over. I think people think I feel like people sometimes will think of him like, I don't know. They just like put him aside. Like they're like, oh, you're Sinbad, and you're like, Sinbad's ridiculous. That special was great.
Yeah.
So like Sinbad, and I think Cosby is like those, and then the first ones I remember, like Brian Regan was the first album I ever heard. My dad gave me that. It was he bought it like at a truck stop, and then was like, you got to listen to this album. Because my dad was telling me, he's like, I had to pull over. I was laughing so hard. And so Brian Regan was the first time I realized like that there could be someone that funny and he's not famous. Like, I didn't understand that. Like that was the first time I was like, you're like, you figured the best I know him, and then you see that and you're like, well, that guy's probably the funniest guy I've ever heard in my life.
Right.
And that Brian Regan Live is. I mean, I talked about this one because this is Seinfeld.
Sure.
It means about Brian Regan Live is probably the. Do you get that one a lot?
Oh, really? Never brought that up.
Oh,
I think it could because of exactly what you're talking about. Like that he's the biggest working comedian there is, but again, not the name that he should be.
Yeah, because when you start out, you wouldn't know about him. Like, I think now maybe people like comics coming up now. He's a little more known. Like maybe they probably know who he is.
Yeah.
But I mean, that Brian Regan Live was like, I mean, that album's nuts. It's like one of the top albums ever.
Yeah.
And just that guy just was on the road just killing it.
Yeah.
That was almost like a perfect because he was just on the road killing it. Like now, like no one comedy, you're like so. He was like whatever, not getting like he was doing like Letterman's or doing all this stuff, but like not getting his crazy like things, and then just to be like that's like a good way to be. He just sits back and just goes all right, and then releases his album, and then it's just like that album is so good that it's like it just blew up, and it blew him up into doing theaters just off like a word of mouth, like not even like obviously the internet's here, but it wasn't like it is now.
No.
It was just like here, you gotta have this CD. It's pretty crazy.
Well, and the internet can unfortunately make things big for just so long.
Yeah.
Whereas, if you did build your act up in the day when the internet wasn't helping you, you might still be all right. I think.
No, yeah.
All right, so I'm trying to think then. So you listened to this album first in Chicago. Now, was it something that you bought yourself, sought it out, or did a friend give it to you, somebody give it to you, or?
How did I get it? I think did my parents buy it, or did I think I bought it.
Okay.
I might have bought the DVD.
Okay.
And I might have bought the album too, like CD. Huh?
Did you get it at Tower?
I think
Chicago?
So. Yeah.
It's the best shop ever.
And then it was like that. I saw him. We went and saw him too. Like right when I started, right when I moved to Chicago, I was there like 2 months, and then I flew home. And and we went back and saw him. And then the other thing too was like with him was Comedian. When that came out, I watched that. I remember going to see that in a movie theater. Yeah. And that was like right when I was about to move. Okay. So that was a big one. Like that's the other thing. Like he did that, and like that's still one of the best. Like I'll still watch that now.
That's great.
Cause especially and I kept watching. It was nice to move to New York, and then watch it before I go to New York. Then like every year I could watch it, and I would start like now I'm starting to know who the comics are in it, and then I would recognize the clubs. You're like, oh, I performed there. Oh wow, that's and then so that was like. That was pretty awesome. Like that was like that was like my guide to New York. I feel like
the documentary might end up being more seminal for more comics who end up succeeding than we might realize right now, since it only came out 10 years ago, something like that. So give it another 10 years. I think it'll be more obvious how the impact that movie had. I didn't do stand up, but I loved it myself, and so I didn't really think about it in terms of what it was doing for guys like you at the time.
Oh yeah, it was. I mean, it was like everything, and like that's like he has done like it's just been perfect. Like what he's done, like and like what he did for stand, like everything, like. The show, and then his album, and then he does that Comedian, which is like that's not for everybody,
right?
But it's for us, and it's for comedy fans, and And I imagine people just want to watch anything with him in it.
Sure.
But like it was, that was so he's using his name to kind of show people that we do the same jokes over, and like which is like it's like I know it's like the thing like pulling the curtain, but I don't know. It's like shows someone working. It at least shows people where they can. I don't know if they watch it, they understand it a little bit more, where they don't expect where people don't see the same joke twice, and they're like, this guy doesn't have an act, and you're like, no. We have to.
It's actually an interesting thing now that I'm thinking about it. Is just how different, like the fact that your dad is a comedy magician. Mm-hmm. He's a magician and he's a comedian.
Yeah.
But the idea that magician is the magic world is so secretive. Yeah. The comedy world is all about sharing.
Yeah.
I mean, and not even just among them. They'll talk. Yeah. You're here talking about your craft and how you do it. I'm just wondering then how your dad combines the two, because that's crazy, and I'm wondering if that's ever like influenced you, if you've ever been like sort of tight-lipped about it, or if you've always been kind of free about talking about comedy.
No, yeah, I think I was always pretty free about it, because you were like, I don't know, once you get in it, you become obsessed. I mean, they're not tight-lipped like once they get together.
Yeah.
Like they're just like us, like it's like at high school. Like they have conventions. I always kind of wished like comedy had. Like I guess we have festivals, I guess, but they have magic conventions where it's just literally all of them, and they just seem like the funnest. They do a bunch of them though, and they all go to them, which I guess there's a lot of festivals. There's a lot of festivals too, but I don't know. They do so many of them, and like, yeah, I always like, you're always like, man, I wish like comics had like that. Like, I don't know, it's like something real, like awesome to go. You're just hanging out. That's the best thing about festivals is like when you go. Just to hang out with the guys you don't get to see.
Sure. The thing about magic too then is that, like, something you can't do in comedy is you get to do the same stuff over and over again.
Yeah.
Not that you can't develop it, not that you can't change it, but a lot of it depends on, I just spent a ton of money and time perfecting this.
Yes.
It's going to blow you away every time you see it. And that's so weird to me, because you can't maybe at one point you could do that as a comedian, because you were traveling around, nobody could see it on the internet, nobody even saw it on TV at one point. So you got to give everybody that for the first time, and they loved it.
Yeah, that is, when you do that. That is a hard thing, because it's like when you do like, it's like I'm going to do a special, and so I have some stuff for my album on it, and it's like I'm like kind of worried about it, because I'm like, I don't know, and then I had stuff from my Tonight Show appearances or late night appearances, and some of that's on that's not on my album, but it's just newer. But it's like, it's like, I don't know, some stuff you're like, you worry about people being like, oh, this is, but then but the platform is like, it's like the special is like much different than, it's way more than my album.
Yeah.
So it's like you can't. I get it, like you want to keep doing new stuff, but in a way you're like, look, I got to sacrifice the 80 people that listen to my album. I don't know, like, you know what I mean? But like the number versus this other number of people that, I do shows every night, and like people come up, they don't know who I am. Like, so you're like, majority of people will have no idea.
I always assume that a special is okay to be a series of greatest hits, sort of though. So I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I feel like it should be like agreed upon in the comedy world that it's okay.
Yeah, I think it is. I always wondered if like people, like you don't ever know if regular people know. Like with late night spots, like you're like, I wonder if they know that's like, that's just like, that's going to be, you're going to see that again.
Yeah, yeah.
No one's going to just write this and be like, this is a Tonight Show bit. Right. I'm never doing it again.
Yeah.
So I don't know if people realize that.
I remember as a kid being shocked at it. Like, it's like, oh, I've seen that before. But at the same time, I'm the only person who saw that twice.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. I get it. We're in the same club. I felt like, hey, Louis C.K., I see you did that weird bit when he was doing weird comedy. I saw that on another show. That's awesome. Like, there is this kind of, that's the one thing I think about growing up loving comedy, too, is it does feel like this a lot littler club than it actually is, but...
Just like with guys. I mean, there's so many guys doing it, but it is like the guys that are like in it. It's it's interesting. I mean, look, comedy's like in a way like, I mean, Cosby like is like one of the beginning stand-ups, and he's alive. Yeah. I don't know when stand-up was it Shecky Green or who's supposedly the first one of those something old.
Yeah, traditional stand-ups. I mean, 50s really. Like what we think of as a stand-up is really the 50s.
Yeah. I mean, that's like Cosby and like, they're alive.
Yeah.
So like that's how new it is.
Yeah. It's true.
So it's like it's not a huge thing, and I mean it is big, but it's not like overly I don't know, people don't worry. It's not like music. I always think I get mad at music because of that. Like, because it's like, music is like, you can be in a band and like have a fan base and like tour and just be, no one would ever know you. But people are searching music out. Right. And there's so much music.
It's true.
And people are just searching it out. Like they're just grasping at anything to be like, oh, I want a new band. Like everybody just wants the next new band.
Yeah.
Who's the new band? Have you heard this band? And like comedy's like, there's some people that are search it out, but then the majority don't.
No, exactly. I mean, it's one of those things I actually had to learn. This podcast sort of taught me that because like, now I've got close to like 300 albums, and a bunch of them are people that I either never forced myself to listen to and should have, or had never heard of. And like, isn't this a crazy looking album? Yeah. And it's one of those things you don't. I think you're right. People don't seek out new comedy. Yeah. I guess and I don't know why that is. Do you have any?
I don't know. I don't think comedy's like on. It's just not in your mind, I guess. I mean, every time you go to a club, it's usually people go, they've never been to a comedy club. Yeah. Like, and that's still like, you can still today think like you've never been to a comedy, but then it's like, why would they have gone? Like, and sometimes they're 18 or 19, like they can't. Yeah. So you're going to constantly be meeting people that have never gone to a comedy club. Yeah. They've seen concerts. Sure. But they've never, so it's like something I guess that you have to wait, and it's on TV more. Like you definitely like see it, in Tonight Show, and those guys are throwing people on and stuff. But Comedy Central. But yeah, it's not. I don't know why.
I guess you do sort of forget if you're performing in front of people at some point. There's the concept of audience, and not to say that they're faceless, but you do sort of lump them and do assume that maybe the same people are coming back. But I guess I can see the sort of surprise when people, because I love comedy, but I don't go to comedy clubs that often. Yeah. I have to really seek it out. It has to be somebody I love. Yeah. And it has to be worth the money. What I mean? Like, no, I'm not a rich man, so.
No, yeah, that's it's expensive. It's, and now it's like there's so many free shows. Sure. That where you can see the same comic. It's funny, if kind of like that's one thing too. If people knew, like people that aren't in comedy, like they get taken. But if you seek anything in comedy, you can go see whoever you want to go see for free.
For sure, yeah,
easily, or at least like even cheap. You don't have to go wait to see Seinfeld, or I mean, get Seinfeld, like, but he still goes. He bounces around New York, like. But Burr, like you could time it out. You could go see whoever your favorite comic is. Yeah. Very up close. Yeah. And in a small, venue. That's
New York's perfect for that, right?
New York is like perfect. There's a clip on YouTube with Eddie Murphy doing Raw. And do you have that one? Do you get that one on? It's curious.
People bring up his first album more. They don't bring up Raw that much. Oh yeah. Which is weird.
Delirious
even. Like the Comedian. Which I think is his first
album. I don't even know if I've even seen or heard it. Like,
it's pretty good. It's not as good as those two, but
yeah, he's pretty mind blowing. He's like I feel like he was like a prodigy that was like
definitely.
It's a crazy like that guy. That's crazy.
I mean, to start at 15 and then get on SNL when you're 19, you're not.
Yeah, and then his specials were unreal.
Oh yeah,
like I think Chappelle's specials are great, but I don't think they're not like Eddie Murphy's specials were like so funny, and they're like, I mean, so you're like, I can't believe this is like this dude's saying like,
I know,
he's coming up with this stuff. This is a kid.
I know,
and you like you think he might be 30,
right? He's got that weird mix like where he does draw, where he's like clearly drawing from a damaged childhood, but also like there's mix of like, hey, I'm famous now. Here's the people I run into, and then like. Observational stuff mixed in and intertwined. Like I couldn't like look at one of his albums and be like, here's the theme of that album. Not that matters, but like I could not ever do that. It's just like, here's a dude being funny for 45 minutes sit back. Like those are the kind of comedians who I think, again, like Jerry Seinfeld, kind of make it. Not to say that you can't be high-minded about it, but like laughter is
well, that's the whole that's the point of it. That's the job, is like, you want people to laugh. So if you do want to try to get your point across, it's like, just do it in a funny way. Like, being funny and having the crowd laugh is priority one. And then then you figure out from there, but it's like everything's got to be to make that person laugh.
Do you ever, when you're putting together a joke, are you like, oh, this is particularly dark, or you don't realize it until it comes out of your mouth?
Yeah, I remember doing one that like it was like is in New York. I did a joke about 9/11, obviously, and it was bad. Like I was saying, like people were saying it was an inside job, and I was just like, when you read about an inside job, you're like, I just don't think like our world is like that cool, like, you know, in a weird way. Like it sounds like a movie. That's like a movie. I just don't think we're that. There's no way we're like that. You know, we're not a movie.
Right.
And I think I told it better right then than I did ever back then. Because back then, I'm gonna bring it back. Yeah, maybe I'll bring it back. I'll bring it like. But they, no, but I like that. I remember that doing that joke was like, I was like, oh, I don't really care for that feeling. Like I was like, I felt bad. I was like, you know.
Yeah.
And then you just went out.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, let me get out of this joke. I can self-edit, like, you know, sometimes I was never like just going to throw up any thought in front of people.
Sure.
I would try to run it in my head and quite a bit before I actually go do it.
I mean, is there also, obviously, again, like you say, priority one is a laugh, but are you also, sorry.
That's it.
This is for medicine, so it's important. Jesus, I'm so sorry.
No, that's fine.
That has never happened. But do you ever look at the joke after you're like, this is funny, but are you ever like, does this have a purpose? Does this need to be told? Do you look at it that way? Or are you like, no, this is funny, it'll work?
No, I think I just like funny. Like, do you mean like a purpose like in... I
don't know. Just like, am I saying something new, or am I saying something in a new way? Do you...
Yeah.
You know?
No, I mean, I think maybe like... Sometimes maybe you start a joke or something if you worry about it being done before. Maybe like that. Like... Sure. But then you realize, I think now that, like, the older I get into comedy, you start going like, it doesn't matter. Like you stop yourself from writing so many jokes just off the fact that you're like, well, I can't talk about that. Like, because this happened in an airport, and I don't want to say airport,
right?
Where it's like, you know, because you just think, well, I don't need people to think I'm being hacked, you know.
Yeah.
And then like, I have a new joke now, like complaining about something on a plane. And, you know, it's like normally I used to like would never do it because of that reason.
Yeah.
And now you're like, it doesn't matter. If it's your own, if you can have your own voice, then you're going to do your own thing. Like, you know, you're not going to be, no one's going to, you know, it makes it harder for people to ever, I don't think people steal as much as people think they do.
No.
But it would make it harder for anybody to take anything from you. And it makes it everything you know, there was an old thing about saying like with Jay Leno, like in an old comedy book I read when I first started, like, saying like everybody was doing jokes about McDonald's, and they'd be like, but have you heard Jay Leno's joke about McDonald's? So it's like that. You want to be that. So it's like whatever. You can have a joke like everybody else, but you want your joke to be better than everybody else's, that they go like, well, have you heard? You know? So I think that's I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does. It does. All right. So what I like to do towards the end is I always like to ask somebody, if you're going to recommend this album to somebody, if they somehow have never heard of Jerry Seinfeld, or let's say they haven't heard this album, they only know the TV show, why is a good reason to listen to this? Why is it perfect?
It's just it's flawless comedy. It's you know, this album is top to bottom. There's no, it's not like long pauses. It's not long. It's just boom, 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 jokes, punches throughout the whole thing. It's you know, I almost think it's a traditional stand-up. It's a good, if you were getting into stand-up, it's like, to watch it, it's a good album to get into stand-up into. Like, it's, you know, it's everybody, like, likes it, you know, everybody loved his show, Seinfeld. So he's, you know, I think that's why it's a good album to listen to and to start with. If you never heard it, like, it's, I think people would love it. Yeah. The observations, I think, still, you know, they still hold up.
Definitely.
Like, so... That's, you know, that just makes it great, I guess. I don't know.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
So where can people find you online? And do you have anything coming up that you want to plug?
You can go to I am Nate, NateBargatze.com or IamNate.com. And then Twitter and stuff and all that. And then I guess the big one, August 20th, I'm doing a show at Largo in LA with Ron Funches.
Awesome.
So, that's amazing. Yeah. Come to that.
That sounds like a good show.
It will be a lot of fun.
Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for being here.
I loved it.
And as always, everybody have a good thing. Comedy Comedy on Vinyl is a production of Stolen Dress Entertainment. It is produced by Mike Warden and is hosted and edited by Jason Klamm. Our theme song was composed and performed by Richard Levinson. Please visit stolendress.com to listen to our other podcasts, read our blogs, read our tweets, watch our videos, and read our books. Please subscribe on iTunes, and if you like us, give us a 5-star rating and a nice review. You can find us on facebook.com/comedyonvinyl, Twitter @comedyonvinyl, and find everything else at comedyonvinyl.com.